Ankita Robin and welcome to ST Global News. From astronaut Butch Wilmore's powerful declaration of faith in Jesus Christ made during a press conference before his departure back home, to the public veneration of St. Teresa of Avila's tomb for the third time in 443 years, we have many stories to cover. Astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams are set to return to Earth after an unexpected 9-month sojourn in space. The two have begun their journey home aboard SpaceX's Crew Dragon capsule Freedom. Mere days before their departure, Wilmore spoke to the press, reflecting on his experience and drawing on his faith to explain how he navigated the challenges of their extended stay. His unwavering trust in a divine plan, even in times of uncertainty, has resonated with many. In an interview from the International Space Station, astronaut Barry Butch Wilmore spoke about his faith when asked about the lessons he had learned from his 9-month stay in space.
What is your life lesson or takeaway from these 9 months in space?
Well, in answer to your question, I can tell you honestly, my feeling on all of this goes back to my faith. It's bound in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams originally launched to space on June 5, 2024 for what was intended to be a brief 8-day test flight of Boeing Starliner spacecraft. However, their mission took an unexpected turn when technical issues with the spacecraft's thrusters and helium leaks extended their stay aboard the ISS. What began as a short visit turned into a 9-month-long mission. Meanwhile, the Boeing Starliner spacecraft returned uncrewed, landing in the New Mexico desert on September 6, 2024. The duo is set to return to Earth aboard SpaceX's Crew Dragon capsule Freedom, with splashdown expected off the Florida coast at approximately 5:57 p.m. ET on March 18, 2025. The SpaceX capsule recently delivered 4 astronauts to the ISS on Sunday evening as part of a NASA crew swap mission. Before their long-awaited return, Wilmore and Williams spoke to the press from the orbiting lab. When asked about the life lessons or takeaways from his extended stay in space, the 62-year-old astronaut reflected on his faith. He said that his perspective on everything that had transpired was rooted in his belief in Jesus Christ. Quoting Hebrews 11, Wilmore stated that he finds contentment in knowing that Jesus is at work, orchestrating his plan and purposes for his glory throughout humanity.
He is working out his plan and his purposes for his glory throughout all of humanity, and how that plays into our lives is significant and important. And however that plays out, and I am content because I understand that. I understand that he's at work in all things. Some things are for the good. Go to Hebrews chapter 11. Some things look to us to be not so good, but it's all working out for his good for those that will believe. And that's the answer. So thanks for asking.
Wilmore and Williams are scheduled to depart the ISS as early as 4 a.m. ET on Wednesday, alongside NASA astronaut Nick Hague and Russian cosmonaut Alexander Gorbunov. Missouri's Attorney General has issued a cease and desist order against Planned Parenthood facilities in the state, halting the provision of chemical abortions. In a statement, Attorney General Andrew Bailey called the move a crucial enforcement measure aimed at ensuring compliance with Missouri law and safeguarding the health and safety of women in the state.
Missouri's Attorney General has issued a cease and desist order against Planned Parenthood facilities in the state to prevent them from providing chemical abortions. In a recent press release, Attorney General Andrew Bailey emphasized, quote, "This order is a crucial enforcement measure to stop Planned Parenthood from continuing to ignore Missouri law and to ensure the health and safety of Missouri women," end quote. Missouri was the first state in the country to ban abortion following the Supreme Court's 2022 reversal of Roe v. Wade. However, in November, residents of the state voted to promote abortion as a constitutional right. While this amendment was passed, it did not fully overturn all state abortion restrictions, marking only the first step in what is expected to be an ongoing legal battle in Missouri. Recently, a federal judge blocked a license requirement for abortion providers in the state, ruling it discriminatory. As a result, Planned Parenthood Great Rivers, and Planned Parenthood Great Plains resumed their services. Tessa Longborn, a senior research associate at the Charlotte Lozier Institute, pointed out that medication abortions or chemical abortions are even riskier than surgical abortions. Bailey expressed concern over Planned Parenthood's ongoing pattern of conducting abortions without the necessary complication protocols, failing to report complications and intentionally violating state law. He further stated that it is his duty to enforce the law and to protect the lives and safety of Missourians. Emily Wales, President and CEO of Comprehensive Health of Planned Parenthood Great Plains, responded by saying that since 2018, medication abortions have only been offered once legal requirements have been met.
The Orlando Diocese is set to welcome 800 new individuals into the Catholic Church this Easter, marking a remarkable increase of more than 33% from last year. The rite of election for the catechumens was held on March 9th in two separate ceremonies, as the Basilica could not accommodate all the catechumens, their sponsors, and their families. On March 9th, the Diocese of Orlando held the rite of election ceremony for more than 800 people who will enter into full communion with the Catholic Church at this year's Easter Vigil. Due to the large number of catechumens, their sponsors, and families, two separate rite of election ceremonies were held. Bishop John Noonan presided over the ceremonies, which took place at the Basilica of the National Shrine of Mary, Queen of the Universe. This year, the diocese recorded an increase of nearly 200 catechumens compared to last year. Nick Wagner, co-founder of Team Initiation, a group that develops resources to support OCIA leaders and ministers, attributed the increase to several factors: a widespread search for meaning, a post-pandemic catch-up of sacraments, the desire for community and connection, and the influence of social media. Jorge Montes, Catechetical Director at St. Thomas Aquinas Parish in St. Cloud, explained that when parents request sacraments for their children, he takes time to get to know them. Through this process, catechists identify family members who may not have received the sacraments or couples who have not convalidated their civil unions. They then accompany both parents and children in their faith formation journey. Among those receiving the sacraments of initiation this Easter is Yair Humberto Rivera, who was drawn to Catholicism through the powerful Christian witness of his fiancée. Also entering the church is 12-year-old Ellis D., who lives with a debilitating lifelong illness. He recalled experiencing the presence of the Holy Spirit on New Year's Eve when his pastor, Father Emmanuel Akliu, prayed over him during a flare-up at Mass. Bishop John Noonan expressed joy over the growing number of conversions within the diocese. The 74-year-old prelate described people coming into the church with a desire for Christ and a heart for service as the most joyful celebration we can have. The Diocese of Orlando serves the spiritual needs of Central Florida's Catholic community, which as of 2023 numbers approximately 390,000. The diocese offers Christian initiation programs through its various parishes. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard has expressed the United States' deep concern over the growing persecution of religious minorities in Bangladesh, highlighting ongoing violence against Hindus, Buddhists, Christians, and Catholics. Following the ousting of Sheikh Hasina's government last year, India has raised alarms over the deteriorating situation, but the interim government under Muhammad Yunus has failed to take action. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard has conveyed the United States' concern over the increasing persecution of religious minorities in Bangladesh. In an interview with NDTV World on Monday, March 17th, following a security conference in New Delhi, Gabbard stated that the violence and discrimination against Hindus, Buddhists, Christians, and Catholics in Bangladesh has drawn significant attention from the US government and President Donald Trump's administration. She added that discussions between the US cabinet and the government of Bangladesh were in progress to address the concern. Ever since the Sheikh Hasina-led government was ousted in August last year, India has been raising the issue of persecution of religious minorities in Bangladesh. The interim government headed by Muhammad Yunus has ignored India's concerns and failed to restore law and order. The call for an Islamic caliphate is getting louder in Bangladesh, with the banned outfit Hizb ut-Tahrir organizing a massive rally last week in Dhaka carrying flags of the Islamic State. Tulsi Gabbard stated that the goal of all Islamist terrorist groups across the globe was to establish an Islamist caliphate which endangered people of all religions. She emphasized that the Trump administration remained committed to countering Islamist terrorism, both to protect American citizens and vulnerable communities around the world. Violence against Christians in Myanmar has been escalating, with multiple incidents reported since the beginning of 2025. On March 16th, the Cathedral of the Diocese of Ban Mao in Kachin, Myanmar was destroyed by fire on the eve of the Feast of St. Patrick, to whom the cathedral was dedicated. According to Agencia Fides, the fire was allegedly started during military operations conducted by soldiers of Myanmar's military junta.
The Cathedral of the Diocese of Ban Mao in Kanchan, Myanmar, was destroyed by fire on Sunday, March 16th. The tragic incident happened at 4 p.m. on the eve of the Feast of St. Patrick, to whom the cathedral is dedicated. According to Agencia Fides, St. Patrick's Cathedral was allegedly set on fire during operations conducted in the area by soldiers of the military junta that currently holds power in Myanmar. The priest's house, the building that houses the diocesan offices, and the high school were already set on fire on February 26. Recently, the pastoral center of St. Michael's Catholic Church, belonging to the Diocese of Ban Mao, was destroyed in a bombing raid by the Burmese military on March 3rd. The Diocese of Ban Mao, led by Bishop Raymond Sumlutgam, was established in 2006. It is located in the southeast part of Kanchan state and borders China to the east. The diocese has over 26,000 Catholics. Kanchan state in northern Myanmar is witnessing a bitter fight between Myanmar's army and the Kanchan Independence Army, which has joined the resistance against the ruling military junta. The conflict has displaced more than 120,000 people, and those remaining are struggling for survival.
Months after the devastating Los Angeles fire that affected numerous communities, churches and parishes are rebuilding through faith and resilience. Many have reopened following repairs as priests, lay people, and volunteers worked 24/7. While coping with the mass destruction, Archbishop Jose Gomez of Los Angeles has also focused on meeting the spiritual needs of his community.
2 months have passed since the devastating Eaton and Palisades fires struck the Archdiocese of Los Angeles on January 7th, claiming at least 29 lives and destroying over 16,000 structures across affected communities. As the recovery efforts progress, parishes, schools, and other facilities impacted by the fires are largely engaged in repairs, rebuilding, and reopening. Among the most severely affected Catholic sites is the Mater Dolorosa Passionist Retreat Center in Sierra Madre, located just east of Altadena and bordering the Angels National Forest. The 83-acre retreat center, which is operated by 4 Passionist fathers and 1 Passionist brother, was completely destroyed in the fires. The building's second floor sustained significant damage from the fire hose water spray, and its ceiling ultimately collapsed. Father Febin Barros, director of the retreat center, shared that the Passionists, along with lay staff and volunteers, worked around the clock 24/7 to ensure the center could reopen as soon as possible. Over the course of next month, they focused on cleaning, clearing debris, and collaborating with public officials and private contractors to begin rebuilding the destroyed structures. Besides material relief, Archbishop Jose Gomez of Los Angeles has also prioritized addressing the spiritual needs of his community. Parishes that sustained minor fire damage or were temporarily unusable due to soot, smoke, and ash have been cleaned, repaired, and reopened. For instance, St. Rita Parish in Sierra Madre and St. Elizabeth of Hungary Parish in Altadena both welcomed back parishioners in March. St. Elizabeth, a historic and cherished church, was nearly lost to the flames. However, thanks to the heroic efforts of the parish's elderly permanent deacon and few other volunteers who used a garden hose to extinguish the fire, and the church was spared from complete destruction. Sadly, not all parishes have been able to reopen so quickly. Corpus Christi Parish in Pacific Palisades, the only parish of the Archdiocese's 287 churches to be entirely destroyed by fire, will not reopen for several years.
The tomb of St. Teresa of Avila will be open for public veneration from May 11th to 25th at the Basilica de la Anunciación in Alba de Tormes, according to a statement from Carmelite Church officials. This event will mark a significant moment, as it will be the 3rd time in the 443 years since her death that her relics are available for public veneration. St. Teresa, the renowned Carmelite mystic and author of spiritual writings and poems, was laid to rest in Alba de Tormes.
The body of Saint Teresa of Avila, the renowned doctor of the Church, remains incorrupt almost 5 centuries after her death on October 4, 1582. In 2024, her tomb was reopened for an in-depth study of her relics. Saint Teresa, the famous Carmelite mystic and author of spiritual writings and poems, rests in Alba de Tormes, the town in northwestern Spain where she passed away. As the originator of the Carmelite reform and one of the great mystics, Saint Teresa established numerous convents across Spain, promoting a return to a contemplative and austere life within the order. The tomb of this influential Spanish saint was opened on August 28, 2024 for the first time in 110 years, since it was last opened in 1914, and her body was found to be incorrupt. At a press conference held on March 11th, Carmelite Church officials announced that Saint Teresa's relics would be open for public veneration from May 11th to 25th, 2025 at the Basilica de la Annunciación in Alba de Tormes. In addition, March 28, 2025 will celebrate the 510th anniversary of her birth. On this day, the urn containing her definitive resting place will be presented to the public as part of the commemorative activities. Notably, her tomb was also opened for a brief period in 1760 for 7 hours and again in 1914 for 1 day. This event will mark a significant moment, as this will be the third time in 443 years since her death that her relics are available for public veneration.
That's all for today. Until we meet again, God bless and thank you.